Judge, the world has never been sunshine and rainbows. The world has always been a reasonable and unidealistic place where we all have to accept the reality and live in. But what we see in the status quo is the overemphasis and perpetuation on miracles and religion, where people place false hope in the fact that a holy sovereign figure is just going to make everything okay. Before I move on to my substantives, a few points of set up. One, this is regret motion, i.e. the metric of today's debate should be comparing a world without too much emphasis on miracles versus the status quo, which Ob has a burden to defend. The burden of prop today, then, is to prove that the religion would be better without spread of miracles and overemphasis on miracles. Okay, so moving on to my substantives, two main things I'll be telling you in my speech today. One, how overly idealistic expectations due to the overemphasis on religion dilutes the purpose of religion in the first place. And secondly, how even if miracles are good and beneficial to the religion inherently, we still win over op, even if we take them at their best case scenario. And then I'll be doing some weighing about how religion is better without the overemphasis on miracles. Now, first, a substantive then about overly idealistic expectations and how this dilutes the purpose of religion. Two layers to this. One, on a micro scale, right? When people have problems in life, we see that in the status quo, they will over-optimistically look to the holy figures to solve it with miracles. Two ways this manifests. One, people lose problem-solving skills, which are essential to their daily lives because they actually have to use logic because these miracles are so unlikely to actually happen and actually manifest in their lives, right? And secondly, when this doesn't happen, then they'll start to be disappointed. They'll be disappointed when their lives don't look like how they're educated that it will be. I.e., they think the holy figure is perfect in the first place, but then they feel like the holy figure has let them down. They're actually more likely to lose faith in the status quo. Secondly, then, on a macro scale, right, we said this actually dilutes the purpose of religion, i.e., people will start to believe in religion because they want the miracle to be manifested onto them. They want something miraculous to happen to them, right? We see the purpose in the status quo of the religion is to reinforce social unity and to give people like a good well-being and something to have faith and believe in, right? So we said this actually goes against the core essence of what religion is. Now, second substantive then, on how even if miracles are good and beneficial to the religion inherently, we still win. Even if we take op at the best case scenario, where we can see that miracles are a good thing as a way for religion to spread their messages, op still loses out on this debate because the debate is about the emphasis of religion, right? Emphasis means that the spread of said religion places more importance on the miracles than the principles and morals of the religion itself, right? Leading to an way of conveying the lessons that should be spread by the religion. That is to say, when religion is being spread, the church tells people about the things that their holy figure made happen, i.e. the miracle, but they don't really tell people about the underlying lesson, i.e. forgiveness or believing in the gods will help them have a better life. It is then, essentially, because of this emphasis on miracles, that religion becomes a fairy tale. And when people overemphasize it, it leads to the true ideals of said religion to be neglected. Note that, even without the emphasis on miracles, these miracles will still exist within the teachings of these religions. They can still be used as a method to convey morals and ideals or have an optimistic approach towards life. This looks like people have placing emphasis on their morals rather than focusing on how their supposed God like made everybody miraculously happy, solved wars and stuff, right? We see this is actually more effective in achieving the actual purpose of religion and said quote unquote miracles used to convey these principles of religion. Then some weighing then on how a religion without miracles is better than a religion with the overemphasis of miracles, right? We said the faith and the teachings of religion are not mutually exclusive. They exist on both sides because on our side we can still make use of religion and we can still make use of miracles to teach people the core essence of religion. But however, the difference is that on our side, it's reasonable, i.e. there's no false hope given to these people that a god will suddenly pop out of nowhere and solve all wars, solve human poverty, etc., while still enjoying the benefits of miracles. Now, Judge, I believe you all know that the world is no sunshine rainbows, is no fairy tale place where people just run around and all achieve the goal of world peace. Religion's goal is not to just like feed people into the mistaken into the mistaken promise that God is going to make them all happy, is going to bring peace to the world, but instead is going to give them a more optimistic approach towards life. Judge, I hope you recognize the true purpose of religion and vote for our side, which only on our side are we able to benefit all people in today's debate. Thank you.
When miracles enable millions to connect to religion and attain spiritual fulfillment, government's counterfactual only produces religions that fail to provide the unique function of hope and solace that our side provides. This weakens religion and the fabric that's supposed to hold religious communities together, but also makes religions more coercive. First, response. Basically, the only thing they said is that it dilutes the purpose of religion and disappointment exists. I think even if prayers for miracles don't always lead to miraculous outcomes, the belief itself offers significant benefits because the hope that miracles can happen, it encourages resilience, which allows people to persist through difficult situations. This faith helps them remain strong and motivated, believing that if they maintain their faith in God and work hard, there's always the possibility of something extraordinary happening. In this way, the belief in miracles doesn't just create false hope, it fosters endurance and perseverance, even when we assume that, oh, this hope, it might not be real. Two contentions then. First, why would religion lose its key function of giving hope to individuals? This is a fourfold argument. First, hope is a crucial aspect of religion because it allows individuals to navigate difficult situations. And this is because miracles serve as a tangible reminder of divine intervention in a world where people struggle to maintain faith in something they cannot see or directly experience in the first place. Because if people stop believing in the possibility of miracles, they would lose the sense that there's a powerful force that guides them, which is capable of creating meaningful change in their lives. Miracles then uniquely promise God's help in this life, whereas other religions' comforts rely on the abstract idea of the afterlife, which may feel distant for many individuals on God's world. So the hope for divine intervention then gives followers the strength to fight through their struggles, especially when religion calls to be active participants. This then acts as a self-fulfilling prophecy, meaning people who actually believe in miracles becomes more likely to overcome difficult situations because they don't give up, because they have a belief in God. Second, the hope for a miracle is the only thing vulnerable individuals can rely on, because a person with stage 4 cancer has too much stacked against them to be able to endure with pure will, because the hope for a miraculous recovery from chemotherapy or breakthrough in research is the only thing many of these individuals gain their will to fight on. When they believe that there might be a miracle to reward their continued faith, we end up with less tormented people. Third, what if the miracles don't happen, and why is it still good for religions to emphasize miracles? Twofold. A, even if religions do not emphasize miracles on their side, people will still pray for blessings and wishes. So disappointment still exists on their side, but at least on our side, people have a more positive outlook in life and struggles while going through hardships especially. But B, for example, Roman slaves formed a community around the miracle of Jesus' resurrection and endured the oppression they suffered from the Roman Empire. So when individuals are essentially powerless, it's still better to find solace in miracles because it reduces the suffering even if it doesn't happen, and even when you assume their best case. Third then, how do miracles empower oppressed groups? Because without the emphasis on miracles, individuals, especially those who feel powerless, feel isolated in their own struggles because there is no divine support. This then reduces their willingness to confront systemic injustices. For example, like we saw in the civil rights movement when they drew strength from past miracles like Exodus. Hence, you gain more minority empowerment on our side of the house. Second argument then, without miracles, religion becomes more oppressive under their counterfactual. Why is this likely? Because even in their world, religious leaders still have the incentive to gain power and wealth by promoting religion. However, without miracles, religious leaders are likely to resort to focusing on attributing negative events such as natural disasters or personal tragedies to God's will, which we've seen during the plagues of medieval Europe. This form of fearmonger will be emphasized much more under the counterfactual because there's no counterbalancing mechanism of positive reinforcement that miracles exclusively provide. This leads to the two crucial and exclusive impacts. First, I think miracles inspire faith and loyalty through positive reinforcement, while fear generates obedience through control and shame. People are more likely to be powerless and shamed under situations of crisis, which leads to additional psychological harm. But second, this will disproportionately harm minority populations, because when disasters or societal issues are framed as divine punishment, marginalized groups are often blamed as the divine cause. Without the hopeful narrative of miracles, religion is more likely to promote the idea that certain communities are suffering due to their sinfulness, which leads to increased discrimination and prosecution towards minority groups. So in the end, the incentive of exploitation is symmetric on both government and opposition. The issue in which method will be chosen in the process, and we prefer the status quo where religious leaders do not need to resort to fear in order to maintain control. For all these reasons, vote sick.
Judge, only on our side do we keep the best interests of religions in mind. We stand for a sustainable spread of religion. We stand for the vulnerable. We stand for the believers of the religion, never proud of the proposed. So before I move on to my substantives, let me first provide some rebuttals. First of all, opposition has stated that believers of the faith will hope for miracles while they're suffering themselves and facing hardships. However, if these believers were to truly believe in their faith, they would know from their teachings what is best for them, and they wouldn't solely depend on these miracles for hope in themselves. Moreover, opposition has stated that many would find solace in miracles, such as in the resurrection of Jesus. However, finding solace in miracles will cause more problems. Depending overly on miracles for strength in their faith, instead of finding solace in the religious teachings, will cause believers to believe that miracles are going to happen on themselves. However, the chances of miracles happening is really low, and it will cause them to have a great disappointment and a great resentment to their religion in the end, because believing in the teachings is always better than believing in miracles. Now let me move on to my substantives. Firstly, Due to desperate vulnerability, people in need might place too much trust in their religion, not taken, might place too much trust in their religion because of miracles. Many new believers don't process rationally the chances of a miracle happening on themselves, because humans, they seek instant gratification. Whether or not there is a reward in the end, they want one now. They want a miracle now. And because of that, they will end up donating money, participating lots in their religion, maybe praying constantly and giving sacrifices and offerings. Now, proposition is not saying that these actions are bad, but are wrong, and these actions are wrong, but doing it in excess because you want a miracle for yourself inherently is bad for a person, because if they are disappointed and they have high hopes for the religion, then they will feel really let down, and they will have a resentment toward religion, and they will lose their trust. And we don't want miracles to be a source of comfort and a source of guidance. We want religious teachings from the religion itself to be a source of guidance. But if people only believe in a religion for its miracles, then that's just bad. Moreover, miracles actually help to attract followers, because miracles are and that is bad, because sometimes there are cults and other religious groups that have bad intentions for people. Miracles can be misused by cults to attract the desperate. They trick those that are in dire need to give more money, to donate more, to sacrifice so much for the cult. And they use these strategies, such as talking about so many miracles happening to so many people, to trap people inside their cults, creating a vicious cycle where cult members keep donating more and more, keep giving more and more to the cult, while they are in turn not receiving anything back, because it is a cult and it is bad for them. And our side isn't against religion, but we want a healthy and sustainable spread of religion, where people believe in the religion because of its morals and the teaching it provides. They believe in the miracle because they trust in the teachings, and not because they think that they will suddenly have a miracle that when they snap their fingers and their religion will give them a miracle instantly and change their lives. That is bad for the spread of religion. And that is not a healthy way for religion to spread. Even though it is a quick way to gain followers, that is not the right way. And we believe that morals and teachings are more important. So judge, vote for a healthy spread of religions and vote for the vulnerable. Vote proposition. Thank you.
In this debate, God needs to disprove two things. First, that religions are good. Second, that miracles help spread religion. Seeing as they failed to do either, we're proud to oppose. Right into responses, they talked about how people often develop false hope and they don't look at they only look at extraordinary outcomes instead of looking at practical solutions. Two responses. First, this argument oversimplifies the complex nature of religious belief in miracles. Religions don't claim that everyone will receive miracles simply by praying. They emphasize that miracles occur according to divine will. This distinction is crucial because it shows that believers are not blindly expecting miracles all the time. People understand that miracles are rare and that prayers may go unanswered if it's not in accordance with God's plan. This awareness means that they aren't naively expecting extraordinary outcomes with every prayer, and inherently moderates the potential for disappointment. This already mitigates the disappointment harm that government bench argues. People are rational and they know how miracles work. But secondly, even if people end up being disappointed, as I said, the most important thing is that they still carry the belief that the miracle did not happen because it is not my time yet, or God has a better plan for me. This waters down the harm of disappointment. But second, then why is hope necessarily good? The reason why this hope is good is because if you have zero hope that you'll be better in the future, you have zero motivation to put yourself out of the situation. The church can act as a mechanism for mental solace. You still have the hope to donate to religions or do other things that are beneficial for you. But secondly, religions are exclusive proliferators. All of these real miracles can happen and the nature of religions. But thirdly, people still have souls if they believe in the reincarceration, and that's not a miracle. Miracles that happen during your life is different from stuff that happens after that. It's the only living proof of what can happen to people. Much more important to have hope. Therefore you'll be more motivated and your life will be more motivated, unique on our side. The third rebuttal, they talked about how miracles goes against the core essence of what religion is. Three responses. First, many religious traditions have a historical basis in miraculous events. Miracles often serve as a demonstration of divine power or intervention, which can help affirm the truth claims of a religion. But secondly, miracles can be a source of profound inspiration and faith for believers. They can provide personal and communal experiences that reinforce and validate religious beliefs. Thirdly, in some religious traditions, miracles are seen as signs of a divine presence or approval that can be integral to understanding the nature of the divine and the relationship between the divine and the human. Then, fourth rebuttal, they talked about how without miracles, followers would practice their faith based on genuine moral commitment rather than the desperate hope for divine intervention. Firstly, we tell you that the opposition assumes that people would follow their faith purely based on genuine moral commitment, but we argue that's unrealistic for most individuals to commit to something without any tangible and experiential proof. Miracles provide that connection, grounding their faith in something that they can hold on to. But secondly, even if it were true that people could follow religion based solely on moral commitment, this kind of faith is fragile. When faced with personal challenges or crises, they have nothing concrete to hold on to and are likely to falter or lose faith. Miracles provide the hope and strength needed to persevere during these tough times. But thirdly, without the promise of miracles or divine intervention, followers might feel abandoned by an omnipotent and omnipresent God when their prayers aren't answered. This can lead to resentment as they feel they're left to face their struggles alone, which further weakens their faith rather than strengthening it. Then last rebuttal, they talked about how churches use this concept of miracles to ask for donation, and this is especially harmful for poor people. Two responses. First, churches ask for donations regardless. Churches rely on donations to fund their projects, pay staff, have a building, and they would still request contributions even without emphasizing miracles. This problem is not mutually exclusive. If miracles weren't used, churches would invoke other concepts like the fear of hell or the promise of heaven to encourage donations. This potential harm is not significantly worsened by the emphasis on miracles alone. But secondly, churches do not coerce people into giving money. While they may use guilt as a motivator, they cannot compel anyone to donate, especially the poor. It also unlikely that churches would target poor individuals for donations, as this would damage the public image and reputation. The third argument on the absence of miracles to form less religious communities. Religious communities are crucial in that they unite diverse groups of people into one belief system and form social connection and bondings between people. The lack of miracles harms this communal function. How miracles often form the collective experiences that bond communities together. For example, stories like parting of the Red Sea, resurrection, but also at the collective experiences of the university. These stories have formed rituals, religious culture, celebrations, and community events such as Easter holidays or Christmas that reinforce a shared sense of belonging and identity from different social backgrounds. For these reasons, more than proud to oppose. Thank you.
Judge, only on our side are we able to truly protect the vulnerable who blindly give into these miracles and keep the true purpose of religion. Proud to propose today two things in my speech. Firstly, on the purpose of religion, and secondly, on their followers. Note that on our firstly, moving on to the purpose of religion, right? Note that on our side, we're not saying that religion is bad, right? We're still saying that we want religion, but we just don't want the emphasis on miracles. We want religion to be able to be a source of guidance that can help these people develop as a person, that can help them develop the good virtues as a person, such as kindness and gratitude, right? So on their side, the people now believe in this religion because of the miracle and not because of the faith they have to this religion. They want this miracle to happen to them, and it's not from true faith. And so on their side, the religion doesn't even get people who follows them because they believe in the faith, right? We tell you that OP is completely destroying the whole purpose of religion, which is to help people develop as a good person in the long term, right? We tell you that on OP, they actually experience a loss of followers, right? Because we tell you that there are two types of followers in the status quo, right? Firstly, those who are actually knowledgeable, right? Judge, we tell you that with the rising trend of science in the recent century, science already proves that a lot of these miracles are wrong, right? No, thank you. We actually when science is able to prove several of these miracles wrong, by putting an emphasis on miracles, you're only building up more confusion, and you're making your whole religion not believable at all, and you're turning all your followers away from religion, right? And secondly, those who place too much trust and ended up disappointing themselves because they thought that if they prayed enough, they thought that if they paid enough money, they thought that if I prayed to the priest enough to get special blessings, this miracle would happen to me, right? They end up disappointing themselves. We tell you that these people lose their faith and trust in the religion when they don't receive these miracles, right? Firstly, these people can become so desperate that they don't care about their real situation and devote way too much into the religion that they harm themselves and their family. And secondly, they simply do not believe in this religion, right? And now, secondly, on my second clash on their followers, right? We tell you on their side, especially for poorer people or like the vulnerable people who are really desperate about their own situation, by placing too much trust in the religion, it actually harms them so much, right? Because as my second speaker has already explained to you, what miracles in religion do is that they glorify these holy figures and saints to get financial benefits from their followers, right? So what does this look like, right? This looks like religious leaders telling their followers, oh, if you donate to our church, this like holy figure will bless you and you'll live a good life, no thank you. Or these people will will tell these followers to pay for special prayers or blessings or healing sessions, right? We tell you that this is especially prominent in large religions where the faith actually becomes cash based on their side. What does this do, right? Because these people are so desperate for miracles to happen on them, they're willing to pay as much as they can to get blessings from their God. When they don't pay enough, it internalizes a sense of guilt or like obligation that they have to pay a certain amount of money so that they can live a good life. As I've already told you, this completely destroys the whole purpose of religion, and now the religion is money and cash based, right? So what happens to these religious followers on op, right? These people develop false hope as long as they devote themselves enough into this religion, they'll actually get these miracles, right? So what do these miracles actually look like, right? This looks like religion claiming that a person who can be like magically cured of terminal illness if they have enough faith or if they like make the right offerings, right? This completely ignores science, and we all know that this is completely impossible, right? So judge, if you want to vote for a world where people are able to follow their religion as actually a source of guidance and develop as a good person in the long term, a world where these people are actually protected, vote prop. Never prouder to propose. Thank you.
First, Kash, on the importance of hope caused by miracles. Which side promotes sustainable faith, right? Government tells us that the hope we have is false hope. Layers of analysis here, Judge. Firstly, we tell you that miracle stories cause real hope. Looking at miracle stories, they believe that their life too have hope, right? Second, even under the assumption that it's actually fake hope or false hope, we win. This is because we bite the bullet and say we would have fake hope for stage 4 cancer patients, right? We don't get why false hope is harmful from the very get-go, right? Government tells us that miracles don't happen at all from the very get-go. First, we tell you that miracles are extremely subjective, right? We tell you that people view good events as miracles under our model, results for morality and faith under our model. Government says that it destroys the purpose of religion from the very get-go. I think our hope argument already rebuts to this. Hope based on miracles and interaction between humanity and a higher power is what distinguishes religions from other humanitarian efforts. So our side fulfills the purpose of religion's better, right? Government also tells us that people become too desperate that they don't even look at reality. Our first and second speaker already rebutted to this. I would like to clarify, right? People are rational, Judge. They aren't stupid. They won't just fall for these miracles. I don't think a stage 4 cancer patient, just because they believe in miracles, would suddenly quit all their treatments and go home and pray, right? They'll rather use miracles just as a way to gain hope to keep getting chemotherapy, right? So final weighing on sustainable faith, right? Judge, I think both sides consent to the premise that religious is good, right? Therefore, the biggest comparative and winning point becomes which side creates sustainable faith. Under the government's model, we tell you that people don't even opt into religion from the first place because they don't hear about the universal story of miracles. But even under their best case, we win because under their model, new believers are not able to sustain faith and belief on the long run when they only act moral without expecting any results. They opt out of religion easily. On our model, stage 4 cancer patients believe and act moral, searching for miracles. More followers come into religion listening to miracle stories. We win on head count, right? Second clash on which side helps the people better. As our DLO told you, in the counterfactual world where there are no miraculous events to celebrate and religious dwells on the vague doctrines and religious texts of God, there are less opportunities of communal bonding and stories. This means that religious communities are less likely to be a community when people can have social interactions and gather, right? The impact of this is that this reduces the social connections, which ultimately leads to less social mobilization to fight for their community. This means less mechanisms of minority religious groups to escape oppression from other religions and less reason for people to bond together. And when religion is oftentimes the rallying point of communities that are disfranchised, such as Black or Hispanic churches, these communities are undermined, which leads to less psychological benefits of religions, right? Government talks about exploitation from cults and church donations, right? There are responses here. Firstly, churches continually seek donations to support their project and staff, right? Even if they didn't highlight miracles, they would still request contributions, right? Potentially using other conceptions, it's out of order, such as the fear of hell or the promise of heaven to motivate giving. The focus on miracles doesn't greatly increase the potential harm. Secondly, when we weigh the harm of guilting people into donating against the benefits of emphasizing miracles, such as providing hope and strength, the harm seems negligible, right? The positive impact of giving people faith and perseverance far outweighs the limited risk of manipulating donations, right? Judge, so at the end of the day, we say we win this debate because not only do we prove why, we win on the vulnerable people, helping the vulnerable people, because we prove to you why there are more hope for vulnerable people. We say that even under the assumption that the hope we have is false hope, we actually benefit the vulnerable people on the head count. We bring more people to religion, which becomes a community. We say we win at the end of the day. Please vote for 6.
Even if we assume miracles don't exist, they don't refute our point about how it still motivates individuals to persist through difficult situations. Because I think we already proved without miracles, it's hard to believe that God is powerful and can do anything for you. So it's harder to believe in religions from the very get-go. So I think we already proved to you why hope is exclusively achieved under our side, why the purpose of religions is exclusively achieved on our side as well, and all their points about how miracles are bad were refuted. 2 issues then on why sick wins. First issue, can miracles strengthen hope and faith? I think while prayers for miracles might not always result in miraculous outcomes, even if we assume that point is true, the belief in them provides substantial advantages, which means that even if if DPM claims that, oh, there's scientific proof that miracles aren't real, I think the impact it provides is way more significant. The hope that miracles are possible boosts for resilience, which helps people to endure challenging situations. I think it motivates people to keep applying for jobs despite rejections or to remain hopeful in therapy during illness or trauma. I think this faith enables them to stay strong and motivated because they believe that with persistent effort and faith in God, extraordinary things could still happen to them. So thus, beliefs in miracles does more than offer false hope and promotes endurance and perseverance even during hard times. Then, why is hope good? I think I already explained this from the top of my speech because it is because hope structurally allows people to continue and persevere even when situations seem hopeless from the get-go. Second issue, which side better fulfills the purpose of religions? They say that morality cannot exist on our side. I think the opposition presumes that people would adhere to their faith solely due to the government presumes that people would adhere to their faith solely due to genuine moral commitment. But I think we contended already that it's unrealistic for most individuals to commit without tangible or experiential evidence in the first place. I think miracles offer that connection because it anchors their faith in something concrete that they can actually rely on. I think their point about how miracles cannot be real, it's completely gone here because even when we assume that the impact it provides for both individuals and how society thinks of religion, or their point about exploitation is already checked and balanced on our side's contentions alone. But many religious traditions have a historical basis in miraculous events. Miracles often serve as a demonstration of divine power intervention, which can help affirm the truth claims of a religion in the first place. But for the betterment of religions, very proud to stand on sick. Thank you.
Judge, all paint you a picture of sunshine and rainbows. They defend the status quo, right? Where people blindly believe in miracles that will happen to them as a result of believing or having faith in a certain religion. Now, 2 main strategic flaws in Ops case today. 1, they're uncharitable to the max. They say that we actually make people lose hope in life because they'll lose sense of God, while excessive miracles actually promise the hope for God in their world. However, I've already told you that miracles are extremely unrealistic and unlikely to happen. So when you promote them so much, people are actually more likely to feed into this and believe that it will happen in their lives, but this is actually unrealistic. We don't see how this manifests in your world, right? Where people are just incentivized to place a lot of hope in God when they actually aren't able to achieve this in their world. Secondly, note that they can see that miracles are the only thing some of the vulnerable people rely on. They also tell us that they don't see how false hope is a bad thing. But 2 responses to this. 1, they're actually manipulating the desperate and vulnerable people as they concede into believing unrealistic things and disproportionately harming them when these things don't actually manifest in their lives. Second layer to this then is that I've already told you how to perpetuate the cycle of desperate people believing and placing hope in miracles. We see that OP actually feeds into the exact vicious cycle that my second speaker has already mentioned, how people are incentivized to devote more time and energy into the religion. The trade-off on OP then is that sacrificing the actual assets and well-being of those who are actually desperate and vulnerable simply define the essence of religion, that is for everybody to live together harmoniously. Second strategic flaw then of OP is that they blindly assume that everyone is rational. Here you already see a major contradiction in their case, right? Because they've already established that there are desperate people who rely on miracles to blindly believe in religion. Because they tell us that people are going to donate either way to churches, right? But the principal difference is the fact that these people in our world are donating out their actual belief in morals as opposed to wanting things that will never happen to them to happen to them. So then how do we win? We win on mutual exclusivity. The benefits of miracles that OP preaches still exist on our side, but the harms of excessive emphasis on miracles don't exist on our side because we just utilize miracles as a way of teaching and not as the essence of religion. The benefits on our side are uniquely mutually exclusive to preserve religion, to help people's well-being, mental health, as well as the essence of religion. We also win on charitability because OP never addresses our case at its very likely best. So judge, vote for an actual reasonable world where people actually believe in the basis of religion. Vote for a world where people are free of manipulation and coercion due to religious miracles. Please give your ballot to Prop. Never been prouder to propose.